The number one problem for investors, right?
Stuart, I think it has been. So starting from once we got CPI readings in January, and then again in February and in March, and it's the fact that inflation was still accelerating into late 2021 and the beginning of 2022. That peak inflation, we may have hit peak inflation, but it's at a much higher level than I think many people expected. And if you remember, the Fed in September was talking about 2, maybe 3 rate hikes. Now we've priced in between 10 and 11, and there's very little clarity into what this inflation situation is going to look like. So if you look at the 5-year forward, that's the bond market's expectation of inflation going out 5 years. They think inflation has peaked. So if inflation has peaked, that's great, but what does it settle down to, and how quickly does it decelerate, and how much liquidity does the Fed have to take out of the market? And these are just huge unknowns, which is why I think we're in a bit of a bear market now.
You were the king of not just buy the dip, but you were the Super Bull. That's what we called you. And you were a Super Bowl for a long time. Actually, way until late last year. Now you're not. Now you are the opposite now, aren't you? You're not buying these dips. You're almost selling these dips, aren't you?
Well, so what I'm selling tech. Right, I'm selling tech, I'm selling consumer discretionary, and I'm buying defensives. Luckily for me and my clients, I've had a large position in the energy sector for most of this year. I continue to favor energy. The XLE is the energy ETF, easiest way to play it. XLP, the consumer staples sector. I'm going to add a lot more to that after the news from Target and Walmart. That sector sold off handily. It's now a very good entry point, good risk reward there. So you need to stay invested in the stock market perpetually, but I'm rotating into defensive names, using these types of rallies to get out of the high beta technology growth names, the cyclicals, buying the defensives. That's where we are for now. And I think once the market expects a Fed pivot, that's when you go back all in on tech. And then once the Fed pivots again, then I think the market takes off for several years.
Just very hard to know when the Fed is actually pivoting and by how much. All right, Mike Lee, thanks for being here. We'll see you again soon. Gotcha.
Thanks, Stuart.
I'm going to change the subject.